Hello and welcome. I recently wrote a little cards quiz, just 10 questions, and there were 3 questions which stood out as like outliers, which were confusing people the most. And I just wanted to quickly explain one of them. I am going to do videos, I believe, on the other 2 questions, but I want to split them up into separate videos so people can just look at the one which confused them the most. If you've not taken the quiz yet, obviously there's going to be spoilers for one of the answers here. So go and take the quiz first and then come back afterwards and you can see why it works the way it does. So the question I'm going to look at now is this one here. A lot of people found this confusing, which is you have 4 credits and a Nachschub on board. You play Firebomb on your opponent's unit. It doesn't really matter what the unit is so long as it kills it. And the question is, do you get the Firebomb trigger before or after the Nachschub, or the Firebomb extra credit check? Does this happen before or after you get the credits from Nachschub? So let's get the cards on the screen. We've got Firebomb here, which obviously deal 5 damage to a unit, and then excess damage is dealt to enemy units or random enemies if you have 2 or more unspent credits. And then we've got Nachschub here, which says gain 2 credits for the first enemy unit destroyed during your turn. So the way a lot of people approached this, and where a lot of people got confused, is they assumed the way the game did it is you do all of the Firebomb text. So you do 5 damage to a random, you do 5 damage to a unit, and then you check for the extra credits. You don't have it, so the excess damage is lost. And then you gain the 2 credits from Nachschub. That's how most people interpreted it. I think only 30% of people got this right. So most people thought that the whole effect would happen, and then Nachschub would give them the extra credits. And this is a very logical way of thinking about it. This is how a lot of other games handle it. This is definitely how Magic the Gathering handles it. Pretty much anything on paper will handle it this way because it's just a lot easier when the whole card happens and then the next card happens. But this isn't how it works in cards. In cards, other effects can happen in the middle of one card's effect. So the way it works, you go left to right, and there can be triggers within the first card's effect. So with Firebomb, how the game looks at this is we do 5 damage to a unit, which kills it. The first unit we killed, so now we go from here and we go all the way over to Nachschub and we gain our 2 extra credits. Then we go back to Firebomb and we check for if we have the extra credit. So now excess damage is dealt to random enemies because we have 2 or more unspent credits. So we do 5 damage, which kills the unit, which Nachschub triggers, and then it goes back to Firebomb. So effects can happen within other cards, which confuses people at first, but once you get your head around it, you can start to understand what's going to happen just by looking at something. So another example of this, which is very prevalent, and this was in the test as well, was Bloody Sickle into 34th guards. And the question was, will 34th guards get the cost reduction? And the answer is no, it won't. It used to, but it was called a bug and it was changed. It was like this for a long time. So I think 1939 may have still been deciding how they want the game mechanics to work at this point. I don't know, but it's now been set to work a certain way. And if we go left to right, we deal 1 damage to a unit and to our HQ. And then we draw a card. And then we go to 34th guards. And this effect doesn't trigger because the 1 damage has already happened. So we do 1 damage left to right. Then we draw a card, which draws into the 34th guards, which doesn't get reduced. A different example here would be Air, Land, and Sea into the 5th Regiment, which, I mean, it just, if you can try and figure this out on your own for a moment, pause the video, whatever, But how this does work is we develop a card, which means we now go over here to what we developed, and then we go back over here and we lose the credit slot, meaning the cost will get reduced. Because air, land, and sea, it says we develop first, then we have the card in our hand, then we lose the credit slot. Unlike 34th Guards and Sickle, where we take the damage first. Yeah, we take the damage first, then we draw the card, but we've already taken the damage, so 34th Guard doesn't get the reduction. And then coming back to Firebomb and Nachschub, we do 5 damage to a unit, which triggers Nachschub, and then we come back over here. So this is the core principle that effects can happen within other effects, and there are lots of examples in this, and this will come up in future quizzes because I would like to do more quizzes. The basic understanding or the basic thing you need to understand is the game doesn't wait for card 1 and then card 2 and then card 3 or whatever in a chain. It can go section 1 of card 1, which triggers part of card 2, and then goes back to finishing card 1, which triggers part of card 3, which say triggers part of card 2, and then it'll go back to finishing 1. This is just a completely made up example here. I can't think of anything which would have a chain this long. I'm sure there are examples of chains which are pretty darn long in cards, but the basic concept is it doesn't work like this. It doesn't go card 1 into card 2 into card 3. It goes left to right, starts on the card 1, which triggers card 2. If there's no more effects, it goes back to doing it left to right, and it just keeps going until it's resolved it. So you do this. You do like the firebomb text. Then you go to the trigger, and once that trigger is resolved, if there's no more, if there was another thing which triggered off the Nachschub now, we would go and do that. And then from there, we would go all the way back to Firebomb. We just keep going, and we go left to right, and we follow the triggers, and then we go back to the original card, and we keep going left to right. And this is the basics on how KARDS calculates the order in which things happen, and that's why 34th works this way, and this is why air, land, and sea works this way. And there's lots of other examples, and I have no doubt I will be putting some of them in future quizzes. So if you understand this, do take this into mind, take this into consideration when trying to work out how things are going to work at face value. The other 2 questions, which a lot of people got confusing, was playing M10 on a Lysander PL, and the Panzer IV contest doctrine hit the drop point question. These were 2 of the other confusing ones. Contest doctrine had about 30% of people getting it wrong as well, and then 43%. 34% of people got the Panzer IV one wrong, and then 40% of people got the M10 one wrong. So I will go into details on those and just basically explain why those work the way they do. And yeah, hopefully this helps you understand the game just a little bit better.